You're listening to The Odd Couple with Lori Ross and Vikram Diol.
Hi, this is Vikram Diol and Lori Ross, and we are The Odd Couple. And today we have episode number 12, and we're really excited about it because this episode we're going to talk about how to prepare, present, research, and get ready for the deal that you're about to make that's going to change your life forever. So without further ado, hey, Lori, how are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome back to the U.S. of A. I missed you. It's holding down the fort over here.
I appreciate that. I heard a couple of the episodes that you did, and they're fantastic. Maybe I should leave more often.
No, that's okay. I have my other podcast I do solo. I don't need to, so stick around. But I wanted to, because we've done a lot of shows talking about kind of inspiring people, motivating people, just like take that first step, do it, and some tips about how to do it. But what about when you're face to face? And this is coming up for me. What about when you're face to face with your clients and you're ready to take the money, you're ready to do all that, and then, you don't want to like bomb, right? When you're presenting all of your information. So I really wanted to pick your brain a lot to see how you prepare, how you research when you're working with clients.
And those are great questions. I mean, for me, the art of the sale is figuring out what your client wants, what features you have that you can offer it, and how it benefits them. So when I used to sell Cutco knives, we had a page that was called the features and benefits page. And you would talk about the features, but when you talked about the features of the product, you talked about how it benefited your client. Today, so let's unwrap this a little bit more before we get into the features and benefits page. With the way that we have information available to us, there's really no excuse for you to walk into a presentation blind. And let me tell you why I say that. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have Twitter, we have LinkedIn, and we probably have things that I've never heard of. You have Pinterest, so depending on the clientele. And the reason why all those are valuable is because if you spent half an hour or 45 minutes to look up the person's interests, to look up the person's personality styles, read what they've done, you start to figure out, okay, you can make a blueprint of them. And you can start to say, okay, this person is like this, or this person might be like that, or this person likes sports, or this person likes outdoor activities, or this person has 2 kids and a dog, or, they just went to Aspen, or they just went to, Ibiza. You start to figure out a lot of things about the person. And so when I research a client, I take out a piece of paper, it becomes my cheat sheet, and I actually take it into the presentation with me so that when I'm looking through my notes, depending on how close I am to them, sometimes they can see it, sometimes they can't. But I'll tell them, I'm like, oh, yeah, I looked you up on Facebook, I looked you up on LinkedIn, and I did some research on you. And I let them know right up from the gates that I researched them. There's a program for, I believe it's a Google Chrome extension called Crystal, Crystal. And if you
I like that name.
Extension, yeah, and it's insightful. But what it does is it allows you to go and get people's potential personality profiles. So it's a artificial intelligence that analyzes the way that people write about themselves.
Whoa.
So obviously, if the person had a professional writer write their LinkedIn, you might be off. But I've analyzed people, and you get like 6 free a month, some 6 free basic ones a month, and then you have to start paying for it. But I mean, if you got a potential deal that's going to make you $5,000 or $10,000, and you got to spend $100 to know about your clientele, it's pretty much a no-brainer to do it. And if you don't have $100 to research your clientele, you probably shouldn't be selling things anyways. You should just go work at McDonald's.
Well, McDonald's has good benefits, so if you have to.
Yeah, if you're working at McDonald's, I mean, you should definitely be listening to this podcast because we're definitely going to help you. Oh, look, there's a little spider climbing on my wall. What should we name him?
Hey, spiders are powerful messengers, spiritual messengers. Just throwing that in there. Do you know what spiders mean? Can we take a little? Because I want to segue a little, not segue completely, but spiders really are representative of creating your own destiny. because they spin their own web and they take it down and they recreate it, and they can feel all the vibrations around in every spot that they link it to. So they're very connected.
Well, I'm gonna use a card and I'm gonna put them outside. I don't like
yes,
spiders.
Don't kill the spiders. I love spiders.
I won't kill okay, well, I won't kill a spider. But going back to researching your people or researching who you're going to meet with is one of the most important things that you're going to do when you meet somebody, because it shows them that you care about them also. I mean, if somebody were to come up to you and tell you like, hey, I know all these different things about you, you're going to be like, wow, this person actually cares. Because most people show up and then they're trying to build rapport, which is important. But if you know that this person's a driver, so one of the things that Crystal does is if they have a LinkedIn profile, it'll tell you if they're a driver, if they're a analytical. And so once you figure out what kind of person they are, then you can take that information and you can start to make an analysis of how you should present to them. If you come and present to me and you just want to have small talk, I'm not going to really be interested in listening. But there's other people, if you don't make small talk, they're not going to want to do business with you because they're going to be like, oh, this person's only about the money. And that might not be the case. So you have to learn that. And again, with Facebook and LinkedIn and everything else out there, there's a ton of opportunity for you to really get to know your clients before you ever even meet them.
Well, and then you kind of have the consult time too, so that you can even go even deeper, right? To see what their vision really is for what they want, and then that'll give you the opportunity to go into your tool bag and see if you actually have what you can provide for them. Yeah,
and so when I typically meet with somebody, I have a phone conversation with them, or if I'm working with somebody as a coaching client or a potential coaching client, I'll talk to them on the phone. I'll see where they're at. I'll see what they want out of life. I'll see what they need. I have a bunch of questions that I'll prepare for the interview. And if you don't have good questions to ask people, you can just go online and go to Google and type in best interview questions or best sales questions to a potential candidate or potential this or that. And then you just write down the questions that you want to ask and you start asking the people the questions. And you'll find out really quickly what's important to them. And when they tell you what's important, ask them what else is important, what else is important, what else is important. Really dig deep into what they want is super crucial, because the more information you have, and you're not manipulating them, you're helping them make a decision. So as a salesperson, your job is to help somebody make a difficult decision. And if you truly believe, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, if you truly believe in your product, then you're not manipulating them to do something stupid. You're helping them make a decision that's going to have a positive impact on their, hopefully on their life or their bottom line.
So what are some things that you should, so we got research kind of before the meeting, and you can have your consult to go a little bit deeper, and then kind of create a plan, a strategy based on what their vision is. But what are some rookie mistakes that people go in when they're maybe they're going into their business for the very first time, it's their very first client. What are some do not do's? Don't do this.
So most people that have had success are overly confident. And because of this overconfidence, they don't do any preparation. And so they're not doing anything to think about a sports player. How much do they practice before they go onto the field? So LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, the Seahawks quarterback, what's his name? Whatever his name is. Like, think about how much these men and women are practicing outside of the game. They don't show up one day and say, okay, well, we have a game, so now we're just going to play. They practice and practice and practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. And that's one of the things that's not glamorous. So people in sales say, oh, I like to wing it. I like to just go out there and do it on my own. I don't want to do the preparation because I'm busy and I have all this other stuff to do. But if you were to go out there and actually do the preparation and create a script, so when I meet them, I'm going to do this. Next thing I'm going to do is this, and then I'm going to ask them these questions. And you actually are prepared with an agenda, the client is typically going to listen to you. So the client will say, okay, this person's prepared. They're not just winging it. and they have their program that they've created to be efficient and to maximize what I need. And they'll typically let you ask a lot of the questions that you need to ask. Now, as you go through your dialogue, don't be overconfident. So the first thing is preparation. Most salespeople I've seen don't want to prepare. They don't want to have a script. They don't want to have a dialogue created. They just want to go in there and ask a bunch of shitty questions, and they get crappy results, and then they say, oh, the person wasn't ready to buy, or the product didn't fit the client's needs, or we're just not a good fit. Our personalities don't match. So that's one of the first things that I would say people don't do.
Okay. And then let's talk about, what if you get a client that maybe what they want is out of your comfort zone a little bit, but it helps you grow? Do you step into that role and learn and work a little harder to be able to provide something? Or do you kind of say, that's not what we do here, and you move forward? I'm kind of in that weird space of like, I have this opportunity to expand and be huge, but I'm still small, and I want to be realistic and tell people up front, hey, I'm a local business right now, and I want to expand. But what? I guess, how much information do you offer to the client about where you were at?
I've done it both ways. I've been honest with people, and I told them, look, I haven't sold a house, or I haven't sold this at your price point before. And the reason why you should hire me is because I am going to be more careful than somebody who's used to this. And I'm going to put a lot more effort into it because I really want to use you as my stepping stone to get into this higher price point or to get into this new market. So even though I might not have the experience, as you can see, I've done hours of research before I met you. I've come up with a game plan. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's my plan of action so that I'm going to get you success. Here's my roadmap of what I'm going to do. If this happens, this is my, 3 solutions, or my 3 kind of potential issues that I've come up with that could arise. And here's what I'm going to do. So as you can see, I've done the research up front so that typically when you do the research up front, you have less issues. So I've done the research up front. I've put in the effort. And again, I want you to be my launching pad to get into this new market. And so I like to tell them, because that sets the expectation up front, because when a problem arises and they're like, I thought you knew what you were doing, and you're like, well, this is my first time with this type of an event, they're going to be like, holy shit, why didn't you say something? Like, this is my livelihood. I mean, we were selling multi-million-dollar properties for our clients, and they needed that money to retire. They needed that money to go on to their next home. They needed that money for their kids' colleges. I mean, some people they needed the money because they were overextended and they had to sell the property to get out of that situation. So, I mean, it was very important to the client. And, I might have made $30 or $40 or $50,000 on the sale, but the money that I made was going to be spent much quicker than the money that they took and put into what they needed to do. So I always am the firm believer of, if you tell people what to expect up front, they have trust that you're going to get it done, and they know that you're honest with them. And you know what? If you lose a deal to somebody, you didn't lose that person. So you might have lost the sale, but you didn't lose that networking connection with that person, because you might not be ready for what they have today, but tomorrow you are, and they're going to remember that you were honest, or they might refer you to somebody who is just starting out, or who's a little bit smaller fish in the pond, but that small fish is connected to a lot of big fish, or you guys grow together. So I've always been a believer that you don't want to burn the bridge.
Absolutely, because you never know where it's going to go.
Right.
But this is all really good information. And do you ever get nervous when you're talking to clients, or is it when you're prepared, does that kind of give you more confidence to know that you can answer any questions that really come up?
If you're not nervous when you walk into an appointment, that means you're overconfident. And when you're overconfident, you're going to get squashed, in my opinion. You should always have a little bit of nervousness. I mean, you should always think that you're competing with 2 or 3 other people. Even if a client's a past client, they know you, they trust you, you should still do the homework. I can't tell you how many times I've walked into a property and all of a sudden I'm scrambling, and luckily I had a great team that I could call, and I and I was really quick on my toes. But when I would walk into a client, I mean, I lost a client that was a $5 million client because the night before I decided to go out and party instead of preparing for the appointment. And I walked in the next day thinking I had this one in the bag, and the wife was just not sold on me. And we helped them buy the property. We helped them sell their other, I can't remember. We helped them buy the property. They came to all of our client appreciation events. They canceled meetings with important people to come to our events. I mean, we were really tight, and they didn't feel like I was prepared because I wasn't prepared for what she was going to ask me. I knew what I was doing, and I knew that I was able to take care of them, but I ended up losing a client that sold a $2.5–3 million house and bought a $3.5 million house. And, when eventually they're going to sell that and buy something more. I mean, that was a $10–15 million client. And, when you take a 2%, 3% commission on it, that's a $300,000–$400,000 kick in the balls. And it's because I was over cocky. I thought I knew what I was doing and I could just go in there and just wing it. And I went in and I was just totally spacey. I forgot what the home had looked like. I was completely unprepared. And when she started asking me really important questions, I didn't have answers.
Wow.
And so when you walk into a meeting, you should always walk into the meeting like it's like you're being interviewed. And just because they sign a contract doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get the sale, because they can say we're not selling, or they can say, hey, screw you, take the money, and we're still going to go somewhere else. Like, we're not going to publish with you, or we're not going to do something with you. We're not going to use you, and whatever you cost, like here's your scraps. We're going to go to somebody who we feel is more prepared or who takes us more seriously.
That was great. And thank you for sharing that, because I think it takes a lot to say, hey, I really screwed up on this one. And a lot of people can learn from that. And so, again, thank you for sharing that. But I've come across some of these businesses. So we're potentially looking to sell our home. And this is a great question for me to ask you. But what do you think? And I don't know if it's reverse psychology or if it's just really good at saying, hey, we really believe that we have value. But I came across this real estate agent, and she's like, make sure that you go and ask like 5 other people or 2 other people to make sure that you know that you really want to sign with us. So is that more reverse psychology, or is it just kind of like, no, you should really look at the rest of the market and compare? Look at other people first, ask other agents first to see what they can offer you. And I was kind of blown away by that. So I was like,
now, is this somebody you know, or is this somebody that you've never met before?
I'd never met her before.
And where was this? Was this purchasing or selling?
It's selling. Because what she was saying what they offer is very different, and it is. It's very different than what most real estate agents offer, real estate teams offer. And they take a higher percentage, but they offer actually so much more work up front, which I'm willing to take because I'm very pregnant and I can't do a lot of physical labor right now to get the house ready. So they were going to take on everything, photos, landscaping, repairs, anything we needed done to get the house ready to go. And I was like, okay, well, as long as I'm getting this as my bottom line at the end, I don't mind paying more to the team, right? And she almost like stopped me and was like, well, make sure you go talk to other agents first. And I was like, wait, how is that closing a deal? I don't understand. Are you trying to...
I mean, in some regards, yes, it is reverse psychology. In other regards, it's hey, go be confident with me, because when I tell you to do something, I want you to do it. Like, I want you to know that you picked somebody who you can trust and that's responsible, and I want you to know before you sign them. And I've said it to other people. I'm like, hey, I just want you to know. They're like, no, we're good. We're going to sign with you. I'm like, all right, but I'm putting it in an email that I told you to go and interview somebody else before, because I wanted you to make sure you knew exactly what you're doing. If somebody does their homework on you, they typically don't need to research other people. And if you meet their expectations up front and they've done their homework on you, or you've sent them some information on you and that's the other thing. When you're going to meet with somebody, send them who you are. Send them your resume. Send them your reviews. Send them some basically kind of a resume of your success. Show them why they should work with you. And if you put that together in a nice email, like a nice PDF where there's clickable links and everything, you know, you have your letterhead, your company letterhead on there, your logos, some reviews or testimonials. If you're a new business and you don't have those and you're working for another company that might have them, you can steal those from the company. If it's your own company and you don't have any, then just put some information about you from your past so that people know your track record. You know, you can go and ask people for reviews.
What an interesting way that we have to segue this, because now we'll have to turn this into a part 2. I'm so sorry, everyone. I know that was a very informative, exciting show, but sound equipment did not want to work for the rest of that. We had to drop the call and figure out some technical difficulties. So we will return with part 2. So we'll go ahead and post the first half of this show. Thank you for tuning into The Odd Couple, and we will see you next week.